Hello everybody, so today it's time for another Versus video. Today it's Inside 2007 versus Inside 2018. Inside, for people that don't know, is the story of a pregnant woman who is living on her own, and one night when knocks on her door, wanted to take her baby from her. So Inside, the original, was a new wave French extreme movie. It came into the movies like Martyrs, Frontiers, Irreversible, Haute Tension. In many of those type of films, they were films that were over the top and gory. And now we have the remake of Inside, which removes everything that made the original Inside creepy and violent. So today, with the Versus series, it's where I compare a remake and original film, or two films that are very similar. Today we are comparing an original film and a remake. And first off, there will be spoilers here today. So if you haven't seen Inside, I do suggest watching the original Inside. Don't watch the remake because it's not great. But today we're going to speak about the things that are very similar and what they do differently and what they do the same in both these films. First off, once again, both characters are called Sarah. That's the same thing. The woman that's after Sarah is once again called the woman. In both these things, you don't ever know her name. And the opening of the film is that Sarah is in a car crash with her husband. In the original film, we have that it's just a normal car crash. That's what I would say. They crash into each other. Sarah's husband is covered in blood, and then it's a few months later, she's just in the house on her own. In the remake, it's that the car crashes into another car and does loads and loads of flips, and then Sarah looks at her husband as he's upside down in the car, and this just felt like they were trying to go more over the top with it, which is confusing that they go over the top with the car crash, but remove all the over the top gore. Now, I will talk about all the gore moments, but first off I want to speak about how the woman first gets into the house. So, when this woman first knocks on Sarah's door, Sarah just goes to the front door and sort of is like, "Oh, hey, go away, my husband will be home soon." But the woman's like, "No, your husband's dead. I know that your husband's dead." And the thing that made the original creepy is that Sarah is a photographer, and she goes to take a picture, and you just have this shadow of this woman, and it's like her, there's a point where she's just smoking, and it's just the outline of her, you never see her face, and that looks creepy for what they do. In the remake, it has the Sarah looks through the spy hole of her house and just sees just a shadow again, sort of an outline of the woman through the spy hole, because the woman has unscrewed the light bulb for the front door, but it's not as creepy as the original. And you have that the woman gets inside the house, and in the original it has that she's inside the house, she stabs Sarah in the stomach with scissors, Sarah then runs to the bathroom and hides in there. In the remake, it's really odd. They have that Sarah is tied to the bed and then injected with something. The woman's starting to get out scissors to take the baby from her. Sarah wakes up while this is happening and runs to the bathroom again. And with the opening of this, it's that Sarah has her neighbour lives right near her. She's got a gay best friend neighbour, and it's two gay guys that live over the road from her. And it feels very forced, that part of the film. It feels very forced about it. And this is where I will go into how both these things connect. With the original, it has that the friend has turned up the house at one point and goes to Sarah, and then the woman is like, "Oh yeah, I'm Sarah's mother." And then with the remake, it's where the guy's gone there to see Sarah. Sarah's actual mother does turn up, and in the original, she goes upstairs. Sarah's mother knocks on the bathroom door, but Sarah thinks that it's the woman, so she comes out with a knitting needle and stabs it straight through her mother's neck, and blood goes everywhere from her. She stabs it in and sort of pulls it out, blood goes everywhere. In the remake, it is so tame and just not crazy like it was in the original. It has that she runs out to her mum and stabs her in the neck with the mirror has smashed on the back of the bathroom door. She stabs her mum in the neck with that, and she starts to cry about it. Now I'm going to compare the gore moments of the films. So two police officers do turn up at the place, and in both the original and the remake, it's both that the police officers, they speak to the woman, and she says that she called the police earlier when there was an intruder outside the house, but the intruder has gone away now. But then the police go, and they come back and they're like, "Hang on a second. The woman that we came and saw, the two other police officers saw, was pregnant. What's going on here?" They get in the house, and in the original, I've completely forgetting this part, But in the original, I think it was the 3 police officers go in the house, they all get killed. But I remember that in very graphic ways they get killed. I remember that one of them just gets stabbed loads and loads of times with a knitting needle in the original. Then one of them goes to the bathroom door and Sarah opens it, but then this police officer gets his head blown to pieces. And there's a very, very graphic part where one of the police officers, he comes back alive because you think he's dead, but he comes back alive and he can't see, and he smashes something on Sarah's stomach loads of times, and it's very horrific. And then the woman cuts the baby out of Sarah's stomach, and the end of the film of the original is the woman rocking on the chair with the baby in her arms, and that is a horrible ending. With the remake, it's that the police officers go there, the woman does get the gun off one of the police officers and shoots them in the eye, and that's like not that graphic, it's just sort of really bad CGI blood you see on the eye. The other police officer does get shot also, and then the friend gets stabbed just with a knife loads of times. And there's nothing graphic there. The thing that made like the original disgusting and things was when she's in the bathroom the whole time. It's so grim that there's blood everywhere. You do have the whole hole coming into the bathroom door again, smashing through and scissors going to hands, but that's once again not very graphic. I remember it being even more graphic in the original. In the remake, it's just like scissors going hands, and it's not that bad. And the end of the remake is really, really bad. The end of the remake is that Sarah gets in a car. In the original, she never left the house. The whole film was set in the house. In the remake, she leaves the house and gets in a car, and the woman is in the back seat, and she strangles her with a seatbelt, and they go towards his house, they crash, they go to the swimming pool. There's like plastic sheet on top, Sarah cuts into it and tries to swim, and she almost drowns, and the woman comes in to save her, and then they get out, and the woman drowns, and Sarah is saved, and the police all find her. She runs to the police, and it's all fine. So they swapped around the endings. Everything's fine in the remake. In the original, everything is just horrible. Just blood, and the baby has been cut from the woman, and she is dead. I don't understand why they decided to do this with the remake. I do not understand why they decided to do a remake. The remake is pointless, incredibly pointless, with this whole, hey, it's a nice ending because the woman in the end is like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm going to save you now and let you go with you still being pregnant. That removes everything that made the original horrific. Like, I understand it's an American remake, but this came from a guy that the remake is made by Miguel Vivas, who made Kidnapped. And Kidnapped is a film that is done in 12 single takes. And Kidnapped has one of the most harrowing endings. You think everything's alright, and it is just a horrible ending. It's a great film, but has a horrible, horrible ending to it. And I don't understand, like, that was a Spanish film. I'm a bit confused as to why they were like, hey, the original was French, now we're going to get a Spanish director to do an American remake. We're going to get 2 Spanish writers who did Rec 1, 2, and 4. We're going to get them on this. It's all very confusing as to why they got these certain people on it. I know they probably saw something good with them, but it just wasn't a great remake and was pointless. The original was shocking and horrific and has that disgusting end to it, and made its place in the new wave French extreme genre. But it's just not, like, the remake is just not that great. The original has a cult following. The remake shouldn't have been made. So that's my views on Inside versus Inside. If Inside versus Inside, Inside 2007 versus Inside 2018. If you've seen both these movies, let's talk about it in the comments down below. If you've seen the remake, what did you think of it? Did you think it was pointless? Did you think it was bad? That's all from me today. In the comments down below, suggest me more of the movies to review and all that type of stuff. That's all for today. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Goodbye.